Jesus is now brought before the Jewish authorities. He's brought before the Jewish ruling council, which is known as the Sanhedrin. The high priest is there and many other important authorities there in Jerusalem. And we're told by Mark that before the trial even began, the teachers of the law had already decided that this Jesus must die. Now, this is significant because the way that Mark narrates the trials of Jesus is to show that there's injustice piled upon injustice. And this is the first of the great injustices. There's no way that Jesus is going to be given a fair trial because his enemies already consider him to be guilty and worthy of death. And what they do is they bring a number of false witnesses to testify against Jesus. The whole thing is a sham. It's a mess. None of these testimonies agree. The whole thing is a bit of an embarrassment. And throughout the whole thing, Jesus remains silent. He never says a word to respond to the accusations that are being brought against him. Jesus doesn't put up a fight. This is surely significant. Jesus recognizes that this is an important part of the purpose for which he's come. He's not going to put up a defense, for it is necessary that he should die. And then we get to a point in proceedings where the high priest addresses Jesus directly and asks him if he is the Messiah, if he is the Christ. And Jesus replies, I am. At this point, this climactic point in Mark's Gospel, Jesus declares himself to be the long-awaited Messiah. Mark's Gospel is structured very carefully around these declarations of Jesus' kingship. Mark begins his Gospel in chapter 1, verse 1 with the statement, this is the beginning of the good news about Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Or this is the beginning of the Gospel of Jesus, Messiah, the Son of God. So we have this declaration of Jesus' identity as the Messiah in the opening verse of Mark's Gospel. And then right in the middle of Mark's Gospel, in chapter 8, we have Peter declaring Jesus to be the Christ, the Messiah. It's the turning point of Mark's Gospel. And then again at the end of Mark's Gospel, we have Jesus saying directly to the high priest, I am he. I am the Messiah. And as far as the high priest is concerned, this shows Jesus to be guilty of the death sentence. He tears his clothes and declares this is blasphemy. We don't need any more witnesses. You've heard him for yourselves. He is guilty and deserving of death. Did Jesus really commit blasphemy? He claimed himself to be the Messiah, but that's a different thing to claim to be God himself. That's a different thing to utter some insult against the name or the law of God. Nevertheless, the Jews have decided that this Jesus must die. But they have a problem. The problem is that they are powerless to follow through with the death sentence. While the Jewish Sanhedrin has a level of authority, it certainly doesn't have the authority to condemn a person to death and see that sentence carried out. What's necessary, therefore, is for the Jewish Sanhedrin to find a way to convince the Roman state authorities to carry out the death sentence for them. And so we now move to the second of the two trials of Jesus that Mark narrates, which is the Roman trial before Pontius Pilate.